What's up? Welcome to another edition of Convict Inc. I'm your host, Robert Rosso. Please, if you have not subscribed, please do so. I'm going to say it again. So the amount of video watches compared to the subscribers is like way off balance. So I'm hoping that some of the people that watch the videos and haven't subscribed do so. To all you people that have subscribed, and to some of you that like deleted me or like unsubscribed and then came back, to all of you, especially so I'm now starting to notice the names of people that have been there a long time. Thank you for subscribing. You guys are helping me out. Anyway, today is Friday, and you guys won't get this till Monday. Why? Because I'm being responsible and doing content, having it set aside so I don't, And I like driving around yesterday, and man, I'll be damned if I wasn't wearing a seatbelt. People were calling me on it, and I was like, no. I had a seatbelt. I wear seatbelts because I was up in Fort Smith. Down here, sometimes I don't, but up there. Anyway, sure enough, I didn't have a seatbelt. I don't know what was going on there. Okay, so minute and 12 seconds, and I'm doing my rambling, as some of you would say. And here's the story. I'm going to do this one. This was something I talked about on with Chad Marks. It was an incident that involved me, other brothers, dirty white boys, and a dude named Big Jerry. I'm not going to say his last name, but a lot of people know who he is. He's one of the real popular white guys in the system, one of the biggest white guys in the system. Big dude, Big Jerry, okay? So this is, I'm going to go back and start from the beginning and go ahead and work my way through it. I was in Leavenworth serving mandatory life for drug charge in 1998. Big Jerry popped up, I want to say within about 2 years later, so about end of 99, 2000. You can't miss him. When I say big, he's super tall, but he's wide. One of these guys that's, like that big jawbone. He had like a crazy mullet, but long hair in the back, probably, down to about his shoulder blades. Just big honky, for real. So he comes in, he's, a lot of people know him. He's one of those guys that likes shiny objects, likes things is what I mean. So he likes a lot of material stuff, has all the cool stuff. He likes the exclusive stuff, so he stood out and he liked to stand out. So not only because of his size, because of his chain and a bunch of stuff that he had. He sported, a real expensive chain and all that. So he's like, big man on campus, for real. So he comes to Leavenworth, and real friendly dude. I mean, just a really, really friendly guy. So he had that side of him that, looked like he was a serious guy, but was on joke time quite a bit. And when you got to know them, this dude had a big heart. I mean, he really did. So we end up, of course, becoming friends. He's in B-Lower. He's, one of the fellas. Now, he was definitely not into the whole needle scene, and he was not on junkie, get high status, but he got high. You know what I mean? There's a big difference. He has used, but he wasn't like somebody that's what his life revolved around. He made money. That was his thing. Okay. The first time I ever really saw somebody that was kind of, or mentioned something about him, maybe something wrong with them or, whatever, was a brother of mine named Head. And Head was at USP Terre Haute with Jerry for a while. And allegedly, there was an incident with some Serenos or Emmy where there was some drugs and this and that, and everybody got locked up and got in trouble and transferred to Mary and an ADX and all kinds of different stuff. From what I remember, there's going to be people that remember this, and Jerry did not. So when Head said this, I'm like, well, what are you saying about dude? He's like, I don't know, bro. He's like, I don't know. You'll see how he talks to staff, but he's a good dude, but I don't know. I'm like, what do you mean? Is he a good dude? Or, we're in prison now. Good dudes don't have like possible snitch jackets or whatever. Anyway, no, he was like, no. I don't know, bro, but he gets the sack. Does it matter? Yeah, that's dope thinking. And I'll get into that in a second. When people know that people assume that someone's hot or a snitch or something, a lot of times it doesn't go down how people think. It doesn't. So especially if you have a good story and you're big and you're popular. People can get away with assumptions all day long. A little short guy, somebody suspected him of being hot or a rat. He might just get and doesn't have anything to offer. He might get wiped out. That's how it goes in prison. That was a little rambly there, right? Okay, so anyway, as time progresses, I become cool. Me and Jerry are cool. He also becomes really close with who, after Kenny left, was the shot caller for the Dirty White Boys, which is No-Nos. Kind of unofficial shot caller. No-Nos held respect, not only because he was a beast of a fighter, because he was like the only DWB that didn't use heroin, okay? Did everything, use heroin. And he talked down about heroin. So anyway, if you knew him, you'd understand. Him and Jerry and No-Nos became good friends. And the match was kind of good. They're a lot alike in a way. They were about making money, they were about making moves, and they were putting stuff together. In the unit, B-Lower, in which I was in, there was a day when a friend of mine who was he had life sentence, life without parole for dope too, leader of a big Crip gang in LA. I'll leave it at that. Crip gang in LA, and I heard he's out and he's running shit. So I don't know. I mean, just has a lot of businesses, and he's still involved in gang life. He made a comment and said, watch that big dude. And I'm like, what do you mean, bro? What do you mean watch that big dude? And he's like, that dude is hot. And I'm like, what make hot meaning snitch, foreman? What makes you say that? He said that he watched Big Jerry watched two guys carry a bucket of wine into a cell. The cell is then locked, okay, because it was an empty cell. So sometimes when in the morning, they pop the doors, those doors stay open. If you have an empty cell, guys that make wine will hold their wine in their cell at night, then run and put it in an empty cell and then lock it. Because after 4 o'clock count, that door is gonna pop again. And then they'll go get their wine, and their wine's safe. Now, if they rewind the camera, if they caught the wine in the empty cell and they rewound the camera, they can see guys pushing the wine into the cell and you can get busted. So, but a lot of times there has been wine in cells that cops just don't rewind the cameras, they don't give a fuck. After, from what my friend, the Black Crip, told me, Big Jerry watched the guys put the bucket of wine in a cell, shut the cell, and then walked over to the staff, talked to him for a few minutes, staff walked straight to the cell, unlocked it, and grabbed the wine, locked the guys up. Okay, so that's that's saying a lot. So he's telling me, look, that dude's a rat, that dude's hot. Now, let me say this. I did believe this dude that I'm telling you who told me this was a trustworthy person, never lied to me about nothing, and we actually became really cool. However, he's black and I was white in the United States Penitentiary. He's saying that the biggest cracker in the prison, one of the bigger ones in the system, is hot. Now, you got to think, is it because he wants that guy gone because he's a threat? Because he's a big dude that's a threat? And you know when somebody will put in work. There's some people that look passive, you would never think would hurt anybody, or killers. And there's some dudes that are big that you just know will go. You just knew Jerry would go. You just knew. So if I'm of a different race and a different mindset and thinking in that mindset, you might want to put a little bug in somebody's ear that person's no good, so the whites will start distrusting him. You follow me? That's just how it goes. So I heard what he said. I didn't take it nowhere. I didn't. But I just started processing it and watching. I went to the hole many times, and I came out. Usually, when I came out on the compound, it was like a little furlough because I lived in the hole at Leavenworth pretty much. I came out one time and I found out that Jerry was prospecting, or that No-Nos wanted to prospect Big Jerry, and for sure he was prospecting. I had somebody say that for sure he was prospecting. Now, what was the motive and what was going on? Rick No-Nos had talked Jerry into prospecting because there was a lot of money to be made in B-Lower. I was the only, Dusty got moved. So at that time, I was the only dirty white boy in that unit. We had a poker table that was making fistful of money. Big Jerry had a store. He was all about making money. And there was gambling operations we could have done. It's just, so Jerry wanted to come like lock the block. He knew that I was gone all the time, meaning that I was in the hole regularly. So I can imagine, I don't know, that him and Rick Nonos had a conversation. It's like, man, Rosso can't stay out of the fucking hole. There's no bros in the block. We need somebody to hold that block down. Because you do, when you can lose footing. The DWBs did have the tables at that time, not in A2, that was an armed unit, stayed that way, and some of the tables upstairs. But things can happen when nobody's in a block and you have a big table like that. Somebody tries to slide in, unnecessary violence, whatever. It's just part of prison stuff. So I got out of that hole, and I got put in the cell with Big Jerry. Like, he had me put as a cellie. And he's one of these guys. He's really crafty with his language, very manipulative, as is everybody in prison, but very manipulative. So he was like building me up like we're like the best of buddies. Like, we were cool, don't get me wrong, but like, it's just me and you, dog. Yeah, we're gonna do this, we're gonna run this, and da 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 da. Back here, I'm like, why does this dude want to get tipped up dirty white boy at the age of 42? Why? What is the deal? Like, he doesn't fit the mold. He doesn't like to shoot heroin or do heroin. That's what most of my bros did, except for Rick. So he didn't. It's like, what's going on? So I started, thinking. But nevertheless, he had a store that he was running, and that dude split everything with me 50-50, and I didn't do anything. That's just because I had a patch on my side. So the poker table he had all set up. He had a dude named Matt Brown. Shout out to Matt from Missouri. Matt Brown was just a real, he didn't want no problems, no drama. He liked to play cards. He liked to make some money. And what he did was he literally ran the table, and he gave 50% of whatever he made to the dirty white boy or dirty white boys. No-Nos had went to him and said, that's a dirty white boy table. Go ahead and run it. Give it to Big Jerry. So even though Big Jerry was not a dirty white boy, because I was not there, Jerry got all the money. He got all the money from the DWB poker table, which was totally wrong. That's a No-Nos issue, but he was totally wrong, but he was getting the money. I come out, I get half of the store money, I didn't put $1 in, and then I get half of this poker table money. This poker table, there wasn't a night when I didn't get $100 at least. That, for nothing. What I would do is every hour or half hour, walk to the poker table and drop off sodas to the players for free. Take care of the players. People in prison, got much to do, so they set tables and they play, and they'll spend all their unicorn checks. That was a cash game only. We did have a credit game too, but it's on a table aside, that was a whole different thing. But yeah, so I'll make sure everybody's taken care of. So I went by, it was pretty much hourly, and then if it was like a Saturday or Sunday, I made sure everybody ate. So I would spend out of my pocket money for sandwiches and stuff, because it was all free money to me. So I did, and it shows a presence. So when you go to a poker table and you say, okay, this is like any game. So this was a dirty white boy. So you want a couple of guys to show presence. Like, hey, if something happens, these dudes are here to enforce, whatever you want to say. People understand what I'm talking about. So it was all good. I like to get high and I like to stay drunk, and I've got not only money that I could get in, but now I've got this other free money, minimum $100 a day. So it's like, yeah, wonderful. Okay. There was other bros that were really, really starting to get pissed off. Number one, because the two biggest money poker tables was B upper and B lower. And they didn't even want Jerry getting any money, but nobody really confronted the issue. And the issue was No-Nos who allowed it to happen. I'm there. I have no qualms with it, because for real, I always knew I was going back to the hole. My issue, okay, so did I get upset that Jerry got money? No, he did everything. Other bros started getting upset. Remember, this guy is not a dirty white boy. This is a dirty white boy table. So, so politics are, they're, what was I going to say, ever flowing. Things can shift as the wind does, just, it's like whatever happens. There's no real constitution guidelines. There's nothing to really follow that's sacred, that you hold dear. an oath. Things can change because of drugs, because of the person. So, everything can change. There came a point to where there was a couple things that happened. Number one, I had put 2 grams of white dope in my shoe. Did a shot. I got a cell, moved out of Jerry's, did a cell by myself, pulled back, did a shot. Jerry walked in. He was one of those that didn't like to knock much either, and I hated that, and I was jumping all over his ass because you do it and then pull it open, instead of knocking and waiting for you to say come in. Pulled it open. Well, he sat there, and I got really high, and I took the dope and I put it in my shoe. He was standing right here. I walked to the TV. He left. I walked to the TV room, and I walked back. My friend Rags comes up and says, "Hey, man, you got to show dope." I said, yeah, come here. I grabbed the dope. I walk out. I walk downstairs, and I'll be damned if 2 cops didn't come walking. They said, "Hey, Rosso." They stopped. One of them went to my cell. They said, "Come here." So I walk down, boom, I drop the dope. Brad sees it, grabs it. I walk upstairs, they shake me down. The cop that goes into my cell goes straight to the shoe and looks right where I put it. Just a few minutes ago in front of Jerry. Ain't saying he's a rat. I'm not. I'm saying it was a little peculiar. So, so I went to a couple bros and I started saying, "Hey, this is what happened." And now getting the mob fired up. So it got back to no-nos, which I really didn't want it to. He came and he didn't say much. He was going behind my back. I didn't know, and was trying to say that Rob's too high, doesn't know what he's talking about. He's trying to smut me up because we had issues with each other. And, but it's like I saw this cop go on my shoe, the side of a pair of new tennis shoes, and they're brand new Air Force Ones that I cut and stuffed them into the foam side. That's what he went and looked and put his finger in. You know what I mean? So I can't prove nothing, all right? I want to make that clear. So I, in fact, did go tell one of my bros I thought Jerry was hot. On the same night, the drugs that I got that were in my shoe may or may have not been from him. And that night I may have not got 2 more grams from him and owed him $1,000 total. So I owed him $1,000. I want to paint this, okay? $1,000. Okay. That's after my cells got shut down. I got 2 more from him, okay? So you can say, why would you do that? Why you need it? Drugs, junkie, what can I say? Prison. And in the back of my mind, I was getting ready, starting it. I'm gonna hit him. This dude's gonna be hit. Yeah. And full disclosure, I didn't want to fight this guy by myself. not in a fist fight. I was thinking about going in a cell, shutting a door, taking a knife. When he's laying down, go, because I didn't think I can whoop this dude whatsoever. Let's be totally clear. Wasn't afraid of him. I knew that I didn't have confidence in winning in a fight with this dude one-on-one for sure. So I go ahead and I'm starting the plant. I tell one of my, this dude's hot. Gets back to, I go to the hole for a drunk, I think, whatever it was. I had the dope with me. I'll go to the hole. Yeah, it was a drunk. And when I get out, I walk up the stairs. I got my bags. You get Army duffel bags. And Jerry comes running down and says, you telling people I'm a rat, motherfucker? He come up and walked up on me. And it caught me off guard. I said, what are you talking about, man? Did you call me a rat? And I said, no, I never called you a rat. So I know who I told to. I said to one person, one of my bros that it wasn't Dusty, it wasn't somebody I was totally close with, but it went to 2 people and got to Rick. I said, no, I never called you a rat. I lied. I got my bags in my hand. I was startled. And he goes, all right. I heard you did. He goes, all right. Okay. So that was it. Obviously, he knew that I was lying. Obviously, he didn't want to do nothing either because he was in some kind of a spot. He was making a lot of money, okay? He did not want to leave. Also, you got a gang that I am a member and can turn, even though he's prospecting. He knew how most of us felt about no-nos. And he wasn't going to just come out and hit me. He knew that I said that for sure. He didn't want to come out. He was trying to save face, to himself. He didn't do it in front of people. Well, there's nobody there. He was loud enough so people could have heard when he said, "Did you call me a rat?" But he's not a stupid person, so he's weighing his options. And there's the money. I shot him 1,000. Okay, so I don't want to hit him because of the repercussions, blah, blah, blah. Smart guy. I'm like, oh, this dude's done. That's just, okay, so let me get out. Let me pay some bills, get reinforced, blah, blah, blah. That's what I always did. When I'd go back, pay bills. Well, I'd pay when I was in the hole too. Get everything. But most important, let's get my ass packed with dope before we head back to the hole on this hit that we're going to do on this dude. Go to the yard one day, go to the yard. And we're totally fucked up. Every single one of us. And we're having like church, a meeting. That's the monthly meeting, whatever, for people that don't know gang speak. We're out there, big meeting. And Jerry came. It was cold. I had on a pair of brand new gray sweats, tops and bottoms, and a brand new pair of shoes that I got. Actually, they're like some expensive shoes or some shit. I say that for a reason, you understand. We're out on the yard and completely smashed. Now, there was an issue. We were having multiple topics of conversation, and one of the issues was going to be not if Jerry was going to get hit, if Jerry was going to be allowed to get patched up because he'd been prospecting for X amount of months. This is what Rick was bringing to the table. We got out on the yard. Rick started singing Jerry's praise, and I popped up and I said, "You went and told Jerry that I called him a rat," and he didn't even deny it. He said, "You did." And everybody else like, "What the fuck? You went and told somebody, that dude's not a brother, he's a prospect." And then there was words that came out, and I said, "Well, I'm not raising my hand for that motherfucker." And other people, and I said, "As a matter of fact, who's going with me to hit him?" That was the conversation. Some other stuff happened. I said this in the video about no-nos. No-nos said that he can go to staff and have staff remove him from the compound. He didn't want his dude to get hurt. Also, they had a bunch of stuff going on together, so he didn't want to lose the money off it. So when No said that about going to staff, everybody stopped. Like, what did you just say? You can't go to staff to have him removed. Actually, he says, "I'll go to AWBZ." That was the AW that Rick had a rapport with. So they were on that kind of time. So he was telling, right? If you're going to pop off and say, "I'll just go to staff." So obviously you've been there before. When he said it, like, there was the pro-Rick guys, a few, and then there was the anti-Rick guys, a few, and then there was like people that just knew that he was wrong. It's probably, I don't know, I forgot, 10, 12 of us out there. So immediately, to save face, to clean up, No says, "Fuck it. All right, fuck, you want me to, I'll do it. I'll go hit it. Let me do it by myself then." So he took off, and he's super drunk. And he spins the lap, and I can see Jerry talking. They're doing this, and then right when he comes back around, No comes back and he swings. This guy was a boxer, like for real, like a boxer. Terrible punch, drunk punch, and it didn't do jack shit to Jerry. This dude's too big. He was in solid dude, and it didn't do nothing. And what I saw was Jerry's face. And like, he was hurt, and I get that. He was hurt by it because they were close. And then 4 more, so there was a total of 5. They start like fighting and going this way. When I say fighting, there wasn't really any good punches being connected. It was sloppy. No was drunk. Jerry was more trying to protect himself and confused and looking out for others. And sure enough, it was a total of 5 that got him in a circle. I was on the other end over here. They all took punches, and somebody hit him in the nose once. It made his nose bleed. He didn't go down. He backed up and tripped and went down on one knee. and they tried to come get him, but the dude was so big, he got up and he was just kind of swatting everybody off like flies. I'm just being straight up. And I was like, wow, okay. So now everybody breaks because we're looking, the towers start seeing something going on. We break, starts walking. Dude's bleeding, nose, and he stays over here. They call yard recall. We start walking back in. There was a couple of them like, yeah, right on, brother. And I'm like, what? Yeah, right on, brother. What do you mean right on? You guys didn't do nothing. I said this straight up. And they're like, yeah, he's fucked up his nose. And I'm like, I was thinking to myself, man, that dude basically just won. You know, I mean, I'm right. So I'm like, all right. So, and I'm thinking, and I've talked about this in videos before. I didn't have a knife in the unit. There was racial issues upstairs the day before, and like all the weapons were sent up there. And I'm like, look, I'm like, man, I need a knife. They're like, what for? I'm like, dude, I'm the only one in the unit. Like, this dude's coming right now. I'm going, but I need something, you know? All right, cool. So they're like, no, he's going to lieutenant's office. I said, Big Jerry, I said his first and last, is not going. That dude doesn't check in. He is not going to go fucking check in. Like, fuck yeah, he's fucked up. He's bleeding. He can't. He's got blood everywhere. He's not going. I said, look, man, you know, and then what they did, and I said, you're like poking the bear and sending him back to the cave where I'm in the cave. So I'm like, you know, and I say, youngster, man, you can get me now. He's like, yeah, Rob. He's like, yeah, but I'll go up there, just wait right here. And I'm like, oh, fuck, this dude didn't do nothing. So I run in the unit to get prepared. I had tennis shoes on, I said. I wanted to go put some boots on. And you know, I'm just getting ready. I knew it. So I was like, okay, my mind's thinking, what can I use? What can I use? What can I use? I know this dude I can't fight him this way. I knew I wouldn't be able to be successful this way. So he was just too big. And I saw Rick hit him, and he just like a boxer, and he wasn't going down. I don't care if he's drunk or not. So I was like, all right. So I walk in, and I just happened to run into my dude Alex's cell, who I talked to here last week, and we'll be on this show at some point in the future, near future. I said, bro, I said, man, I need a knife. He's like, what? And he's like, I need a knife. He's like, what's going on, Ross? I said, dude, I'm getting ready to get into it. He's like, what to? And I said, Big Jerry. And he said, Big Jerry? Alex is a mutual friend of ours. I'm cool with Alex. He's cool with Jerry too. And I said, yeah. I'm like, look, fuck it. And there was on his bulletin board a sardine can lid like this big, or a mackerel. Used to pull them off the containers. Well, we'd fold the top over, and then the end, you'd sharpen them out. And guys used to use them for cutters to cut vegetables. There's the little ring on it, okay? It was hanging by the ring. It was super sharp. At the end was a point. That's where they sharpened it. And it really was basically for food. And I saw it, I grabbed it. There's my weapon, okay? Now I'm in speed mode, you know, and drunk. And I happened, for whatever reason, there was a rubber band. I grabbed the rubber band. I put the rubber band inside the ring, so I have it. I put the rubber band on my wrist, and just like this long sleeve, I tucked it in my long sleeve shirt. Now, I remember I was going to get my boots, but I don't know the time that's going by. I don't know how much time. So I go look, it's 3 o'clock, it's shift change. I go make sure there's no cop in the cop station. I walk over, make sure there's none walking here, and coming through the door, I walked through, I looked, and here comes from center up, here comes Big Jerry. And it was like picture a cartoon of a bull with the horns and smoke. It was just, that's what it looked like, or a big bear that was mad, like, I'm coming back. I'm like, oh, I'm so done. Really, man, I'll put it out there. I was like, oh, fuck. So here he comes. And he comes steaming through the vestibule, and I'm at the door. Now, like I said, now I've got a weapon. I don't even know what I'm gonna do. It's somewhere in here, but I'm not thinking that fast. I just know I'm looking for cops, and we're gonna get in a fight. I'm looking to make sure nobody's around, because I'll hit him, you know, in the thing. Also, there's like a blank spot where cameras can't see right there. It's actually, you know, a little spot. But my main thing was, okay, we can't, like, in front of staff. I also did not want this dude to get to the cell. 2 reasons. He had weapons in that fucking cell. He had like this big, like, it was almost like a bat. It was weird that it was even there. And he had knives. So he would have, he would have much rather, if He didn't see me, he would have much rather have gotten to his cell first and grabbed a knife than try to fight me. I mean, he didn't care, like he wasn't scared. I'm just saying, because he wanted to hurt. He wanted to kill me for real. So he came through, everything, like coast was clear, he comes through, and I left my feet, okay? I don't even know how I did it. I just remember punching up because he's so big. You ever fought somebody that's like, okay, so I'm 5'11", he's like 6'5", 6'6". It's a big deal. It's like a big reach. I leaped and I hit this dude and it did absolutely nothing to him. Made him mad. So I leaped and I remember like, it was like, oh, it was like, and like, it's like it's big old giant, me big daddy. And he boxed my ears. Like, cause when I came down, however, I don't know. I was like Gumby Man because I was so drunk. I kind of like, and he boxed both of my ears like I couldn't hear. Like he did 2 connections. And then like in the middle of all this is seconds. I remember I literally went, and the thing like a switchblade went, whoosh, I caught it. It was like, it couldn't have happened. It was so crazy. And when Alex Salco comes on this show, he'll do a play-by-play. We'll do live and you guys can talk about it. He talked in depth about this the other day. It was like I had a whole new life. Like it was like, he said it was like my eyes went open. I was like, oh, I got you now. And I got him and I just swung. I hit him, So it was mostly a lot of chest cuts across here and across here, whatever. But I just started slicing away. Now facial cuts, lots of blood. So it looks way worse than it is. And I'm going to tell you something. What his facial expression I remember was shock. Like, did you just really cut my face? He's one of those guys, like the other guy, Bruce Neighbors, I said, the guy cut that like to look at himself in the mirror a lot, it's like all this is like, I am getting cut. He's trying to process it. This guy is cutting me. Like, because I wasn't hurting him. He was just so shocked. And then he sees like the blood and he's getting madder. And we tussled. And we were tussling and I was slicing and tussling and I'm just whap. We went like this. And probably like 40 or more staff members, it's shift change, get there. Now, when 2 people are fighting and one has a weapon, they usually don't try to they're afraid of getting stabbed. There's some cops that'll just do the Superman dive. And in this case, they were not. They really didn't know what I had. They just saw the blood. There was a stupid amount of blood. There was blood all over me too, okay? And my new shoes. So my new shoes, I remember, I'll tell you. So what happened was he saw a mop bucket. The mop buckets, the industrial size, with the yellow buckets with the handle. This was with the metal ringer, not the plastic they have now, the metal ringer. He saw that and he was like a weapon. He grabs it. And when he hit me the first time, it's like I did this. It hurt, but I can't, it hurt later. Hit me here. And I kind of went back. And then he got like another swing. So he was getting the momentum, like the swing. And when he swung the second time, it knocked me to the floor. But I was caught and I was like on my hands, my feet. And I was trying because what he did was he took a back step and was running into me. Well, what happened when he knocked me down, and it hit me here again, knocked me down, when I fell back, I was like hand crawling, but I was trying to push myself up, right? So, but I was also trying to get away because I saw this beast with this thing, and all of a sudden, guards. The guards, they were able to step in the middle of it before I got smashed straight up. So it was like, afterwards it was like, wow, glad they stepped in. I was about to get fucked up. And I remember, so the cop grabs me and I said, watch your hand. And he goes, oh shit. He's like, man, thank you, Russell, thank you. And because he was grabbing, almost cut his hand and there was blood. And all staff members at that time especially think everybody had AIDS. Well, more than 50% of the population did have Hep C. That's a true fact. 55% in 2000 had Hep C. Nurses told me that. So the cop was grateful. So we get sent to the lieutenant's office. Well, they escorted, The first thing is that I walked in and the lieutenant goes, how much did you have to drink? Pint and a half of some really strong moonshine. I don't know if it was a pint and a half. It was more than a pint. It was a pint and some change for sure. But I was. Even after that, like I was still like so drunk. So you can imagine with all that adrenaline pumping, if I'm still feeling that drunk with a lot of alcohol. Lieutenant, of course, what's this about? I ain't got nothing to say. And the cop that was escorting me goes, hey, he's got a weapon here. He said, but he saved me from getting my hand cut. Like he stopped me from getting my hand cut. And Lieutenant goes, oh yeah. And he said, yeah. And he grabs it and he said, looked at it, held it by the rubber band and goes, pretty sharp. He said, take photos because you have to and throw it away. Like, so don't give him a shot for that. They gave me a shot for fighting. It's written up in the body of the report that I used a weapon, but they did it in a way that it made us look like we just got into a fight. So they gave him a 200 and me, which is immediate. It's a lesser included offense. They gave us a fight shot for the guys that are in prison. So we have to go to the infirmary because they don't know like how much blood I've lost because I had blood all over me. I didn't even know. Like I didn't know I didn't know. Like I didn't know I wasn't bleeding. For sure I thought this was because this hurt from the thing. We get to the infirmary. They put me in a room right here, and I'll be goddamn if they didn't bring him in. And he's so mad. He's steaming with anger. And he's like, that fucking son of a bitch got me. That motherfucker got me. He's, and that's what he's telling the cop. Man, that fucker got me. He actually got me. And the lieutenant, man, I just thought of something. I have like all these statements and paperwork. I was a legal beagle. So I've got all my medical records. This is in my medical records, these statements. So at one point, he turns and he sees me. And he goes, you motherfucker. Rob, you got me. I'm going to kill you. Just wait. And yeah, it was one of those deals. So I'm going to say this in ending, and I said this on Chad's show too. The guy years later, I better finish. I'm at Lewisburg 2006 or January 2007, right there. December 6th, January 7th. Guy comes in, I get put in the guy's cell. His name is Rosie Russo. He is from Oregon. He knew No-Nos well. No-Nos, and he asked me, he said, so you're Rob Rosso. It's count time, doors closed. We talked by my cell, I went run around, shut the door, and he goes, so you're Rob Rosso? And I said, yeah. He says, I know somebody. I know a friend of yours or have with that. I said, yeah. He says, I'm a good friend of Big Jerry's. And I was like, oh. This guy had the crooked nose, the flat, like boxer nose. He's been beat up and nose broken so many times it doesn't bother him anymore. It's like, oh, this is where it happens, And he's like, you know what Jerry told me? I said, what? And he said, man, he said, you fucking got him. You're the only one that's got him in the feds, or in prison, I think he said. And he says, when he gets you, he's gonna get you. And I said, yeah. And he said, I got no problems with you. He said, as a matter of fact, he said that he felt that you did it because of the $1,000 that you owed him, but it didn't make a lot of sense because he knew that you had money sent. But he said that he liked you, like that you were one of the better dirty white boys. This is what Rose said. And I'm going to say this. So we never crossed paths again, and I knew. So every time I went through transit, like the couple times in Oklahoma City, or getting on the plane, Con Air, or whatever, I was on point for him, because I knew what time it was. I mean, it just is what it is. If I got put on a yard and I knew he was going to be there, if they didn't have it, like I would go out there and just, I would do what I could. That dude, for whatever happened to him in prison, for like I said, if he did put the cops on, he had a 30-year sentence, never anything of ratting on his paperwork. If, let's say, that he did do that. If everybody else was right about what happened at Terre Haute, the wine and all that stuff, I'm going to say this about him. That was one of that dude would take his shirt off his back for anybody he liked. He did, I wanted to say he did the right, we call it the white thing. I did the white thing. That's the right thing for white people. He did like the white thing, but he also was doing it as manipulation moves to, like, you know, to gain everybody's trust and all that stuff. But yeah, he was always he had a big heart. Dude had a big heart. He did. I don't, whatever he did in prison or didn't do, you know, it is what it is. It's life. It's 40 minutes. Yeah, I know. So people are gonna say, you said 10 minutes worth of stuff and you talked 30 minutes. Peace out. Thanks for your support. I appreciate it.